Alright, so this is well, it's very laggy because I haven't quite worked out how much track I have, but I have a stupid amount. Let's start chronologically. Let's go to where I actually started building. Oh, it's so laggy. Yeah, that is like so far this is the most detailed part of the map. So as I leave, it's incredibly laggy. Right. Okay, so we start off. Oh my word, lag. Oh my gosh. I deeply apologize because this is going to be quite annoying to you. And I have no editing skills whatsoever, so that might be an issue. Right. Okay, so we start here, and well, we actually start at the station, or which is here. Um, this is what's this called? Uh, Hamel Road, yeah, Hallam Road. Um, this is the first station I made in this, and well, I don't know. I find it a bit weird because, or the whole purpose of this was to try out how accurate and how mirrored things I could get. Because if you notice, it's perfectly straight and also it's perfectly along the x-axis, which is why everything is so essentially perfect and straight and like, I don't know, just like that. Very boxy. So this would be part of the Harrow scheme, which you could see four-car trains, and initially it was only meant to be four-car trains, but I managed to extend it to six-car train class 465s or triple class 456s, or vice versa, triple class 466s. It uses, um, well, when introduced, it was sort of like a city widened lines situation. Um, it uses class 465s, which is the AP class 465s, and for some reason, as an overhaul to get it out of the system, a singular class 487. Excuse the lag. I actually don't know why this part of the map is so laggy. Considering, or maybe it's because they're AP trains, they have proper scripts, because some of my tube depots are considerably less laggy. Not much to be said about this depot, quite basic. Um, it's the first one I had. Right, and I can't quite remember where I went from this. I think what I did is that I went northbound, which is these two tunnels. This is the right tunnel towards Willets Junction, or Willets Point Junction, or something. Some parts of the map have tunnel textures, and some parts don't. Anyway, I've had this sort of station design in my head for many years when I used to just play with my toy trains. Um, it was actually what I had in my mind really was sort of like a Moorgate, like almost identical to Moorgate, but there was a platform that split off to the left here, and you could actually see down the tunnel to where the tracks would split. And I've also, something I did early on is that you can see these points here. I actually made bumps in the track and things because, well, it was sort of based on the Network Southeast era. Well, started off as Network Southeast era when the track and I don't know was not the best. Small platform extension to accommodate six-car trains, and for ages, and I mean truly like, well, maybe a month or so because I've actually had this for quite a while now. I didn't. You see these tunnels there? That is where the track stopped. I genuinely went no further than that for a long time. Actually, let's start off by showing you a map. Right. So yeah, this is the current map. Quite big. Um, so we are currently uh, about here. So this is Woolwich Junction. There's the depot we just looked at. There's Hamel Road, Hallam Road. And so this is the point where we'll go look up to here. Right. So we would get on a network train, continue down these tunnels. I won't drive any trains at the time being. and it will lock me outside of free cam mode. Here we have oh, why are the lights on? Oh, okay, I just started the thing. This is Letith Heath, which is one of the first stations I built, and it's very, very, very barren, as you can quite evidently see. Staggered platforms. I mean, it has potential, but not like it. Another issue I found is that I forget I because I had envisaged this to be a Thameslink sort of thing. I ended up just sort of making it like a tube, like I don't know, like a tube style thing, and I completely forgot how large these mainline tunnels. The trains only go up to about where that fence is, and so I built everything stupidly out of proportion, like ridiculously out of proportion. Anyway, so we continue on to this is the longest stretch of track I have that's unbroken by station. I believe I have a name for it. I can't remember it. Oh, I don't. But there are these two tunnels which supposedly, when I was first building the game or first building the map, so it was supposedly meant to run almost alongside a river, the main river of the city, which is called Harrow, and trains would get up to at least 75 miles an hour here. Notice how wide the tunnel is. That will become very apparent in other uses later. So we exit here. Supposedly that was been completely rebuilt. That was a complete realignment of the tracks. And over here we can see Letith Heath. Initially that used to go up and it was meant to meet with the main line here, which I haven't built. I've gone through many, many, many different variations. And then we arrive at, I don't even know what the station's called. I think it's called like something Drive, Gresham Drive. Yeah, that's right. This was well, the final point of the station. This is the final section of track, and this has been the final section of track for maybe since February. I haven't actually extended this. The sort of Harrowing Thameslink project, I sort of just died because I've got so much London Underground assets. It just sort of hasn't needed to. I don't know. That's always what I've wanted. I guess I have never needed to build any further with that. So we head back for quite a while, and we're going to head to one of my stations called Bellsgate. Now, a little preamble prior to this, I guess. There was a town I had built. It was supposedly also Harrow um, in early January, and I got pretty far with this town. However, um, due to me turning off the blueprints for, I presume you know how scenario editor works, I had used some German assets for station building, and rather stupidly, I thought I would just turn them off and to get rid of the because I couldn't find where the station or the markers of the station or siding or whatever. I couldn't quite find out where those were. Rather than just attempting to find it, I thought it would be a great idea to completely untick the blueprint section, which was very dumb indeed. Over here is a right. So actually, let's before we do that, let's head to Bellsgate. There's Bellsgate is an interchange station, and now this is where it gets related to what I was talking about earlier. I had initially built a. I'll try and dig it up, but the game is completely corrupted. A single track, very much like the city-wide lines, albeit National Rail and single track, travelling through the northern part of the city, or it was actually the eastern part of the city, and one of the stations on the network was called Bellsgate, and yeah, so this would correspond with the Bellsgate station with a single track line that I made in another city, but it I guess I never bothered to fix it as all for some reason what happened after I deleted the blueprints is that all the track disappeared, and because I built so much the game already, it was not worth it. Like I couldn't relay down the track. Anyway, this would be the crossover or the access point to the single track line. There's a small depot here, a small set of sidings. This train is actually meant to move. I'm not sure why it's not. And this line here would meet up with the depot, or I mean, meet up with the single track line. And there was, it actually might be worth showing you that as well, because that's quite interesting in itself. So continuing on, we reach, notice how wide the tunnels are, because this is using West Coast Mainline assets. And then here I use the West Coast Mainline portal tunnel. And you realise now we're in the same size concrete tunnel as the incredibly long section between Letith Heath and Gresham Drive. This section here, where I commented on how wide it is. It's so wide it can actually accommodate full underground line stations. And the thing is with this is that this is sort of like an old street sort of thing. I didn't quite base it off Old Street, as you could really see how long Old Street. I'm talking about the Moorgate line, which used Class 313s, and now we use Class 717s South Finsbury Park. Again, it's quite a barren station. This is the second station I ever built. Yeah, it's quite barren. And anyway, not much to say here. It connects with the underground, or one of the underground lines, which we'll show you later. So, we continue along. Trains are expected to get up to 75 miles an hour here. If the network is even can, they usually conk out around 40. You are hearing motorways. I've made an entire, well, I made one consecutive. Oh, why is it so noisy? Oh, this is the only place where I put like sound effects. There's an abandoned station here. I'm gonna speak a tad louder. What's this called? It's here. Oh, Effridge Park. That's right. Abandoned station. Not for any reason. I think it was because the new station, Pendle Rise, is just there. So they decided to close it as the platforms are too narrow, and it just seemed to be an inconvenient place. As well, nowadays there's quite a lot of stuff here, but again, if you notice, I've literally decided I've made it to be built, or made it to be viewed specifically for the trains. These pillars here, there used to be a canopy here, but the canopy has long since been removed, and the pillars were left in. Let's continue on. So currently we're travelling on the Harrow Mainline. Yeah, so this is Pendle Rise. It's quite barren again. Most of these stations are rather just empty. It weirdly uses the Victoria, what's it called? The depot for Southeastern trains, just outside. Is it Lovers Walk Depot? I can't remember. Just outside Victoria Station, backing onto the Thames. So this one's all right. It's quite barren. It uses the same tunnel portal block for the entire duration of it. Right, not much to be said. Weirdly enough, even though the law here states that, weirdly enough, as it was rebuilt for the introduction of the Harrowlink service in the 1990s, weirdly enough, it was only built to accommodate 5-car trains, which never actually entered service. And 4-car trains would be used here. The last 1.5 cars would stick out in the end of the tunnel. Nope, I haven't added S-car boards to that side. Anyway, we go along here. You can now see how wide the tunnel is, and we actually enter the above ground, which here I've actually done quite a fair bit of work. This is the area of Spencer, and the tracks go on in a sort of girder viaduct, and quite a lot of my early screenshots were based in this area, so I attempted to seriously outdo myself with, I mean, it's not awful, it could be slightly better. So this is the tunnel opening. There's quite a lot of shrubbery, little sheds and stuff, and this is the first sort of town building experience I had with the game. Now, when I first envisaged this, I actually thought this to be, it would ascend